Chapter 1. My 3 days begin. I never thought a single sentence could break a whole life. But when Dr. Rehan looked me in the eyes and said, "You might have only 3 days left," something inside me cracked so loudly I swear the whole room heard it. I stared at him. Three days? You're joking, right? He sighed. I wish I was. We will run more tests. But right now, this is what we know. My mouth felt dry. My heartbeat was loud. But 3 days, that's nothing. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't say anything else. I couldn't. I walked out of his office like a ghost, barely hearing the hospital sounds around me. People were laughing, talking, living, and I was counting the seconds I had left. When I stepped outside, the air felt heavy. I whispered to myself, is this how I end? 3 days. After all this, my phone buzzed. Mira calling. I stared at her name on the screen. For years, it used to make me smile. Now, it only made my stomach twist. I answered anyway. Where are you? She snapped. No hello. No warmth. At the hospital. I said. Again. What now? You didn't even tell me. I'm coming home. I muttered and hung up before she could start another argument. When I reached home, Mira was standing in the living room with her arms crossed. You didn't answer my question, she said sharply. Why were you there? I wasn't feeling well. You're never feeling well, she shot back. Do you know how stressful it is living with someone who hides everything? Normally, this is where I would fight back, argue, defend myself. But today I just looked at her and felt tired. So tired. I don't want to fight anymore, I said quietly. Mira frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Exactly what I said. I don't want to fight. Since when? She asked, eyes narrowing. You suddenly changed overnight. I don't have the energy. She stared at me like I was speaking a different language. You think you can escape a conversation just by saying that? I nodded slowly. Yes, today. Yes, she scoffed. Wow. Amazing. So now you don't care about this marriage anymore. I felt a sharp sting, but I didn't respond. Silence was all I had strength for. She threw her hands up. Whatever. Do what you want. She stormed into the kitchen. A glass slammed. A cabinet door banged. I closed my eyes and tried to breathe. 3 days. 3 days of this house. 3 days of this distance. 3 days of pretending everything was okay. I sat on the couch, staring at nothing. My heart felt heavier than my body. After a while, I pulled out my phone and called the one person who made sense in my life, Ian. I whispered when he picked up. Bye? You sound weird. Are you okay? Can we meet tomorrow? It's important, of course. What happened? Are you sick again? I closed my eyes. Just meet me, please. There was a pause. Okay, I'll come in the morning. Thanks. When I ended the call, Mira walked back into the room. Who was that? She asked. Ian. She rolled her eyes. Of course. You always run to him. He's my brother, I said softly. And I'm your wife, she snapped. But you don't run to me, do you? I didn't reply. I didn't even look at her. Right, she muttered. Silent again, she walked away, leaving me alone in the dim light. I sat there for a long time, listening to the clock ticking. Every tick felt like a countdown. Eventually, I went to our bedroom. Mira was already asleep or pretending to be. I didn't say anything. I opened my old wooden drawer, took out a blank document folder, and sat at the small desk beside the window. For a long moment, I just stared at the paper. My hands were shaking. Then I whispered to myself, if I have 3 days left, I need to make things right. And I started writing my will. Not for Mira. Not for the woman who couldn't speak a gentle word to me anymore. But for Ian, my brother. My real family. As I wrote, tears blurred the ink. My chest tightened. My breath trembled. Why did it end like this? I whispered to the empty room. Halfway through, I heard the bedroom door creak. Mira's voice broke the silence. What are you doing? She asked. I quickly covered the paper with my arm. Nothing. Just work. Work. She repeated, suspicious. At this hour. Yes. She stepped closer. What are you hiding from me? I forced a tired smile. Nothing, Mira. Please just let it be. She stared at me for a long time, then turned around and walked away. But her footsteps were slow, like she didn't believe me. When she finally closed the door, I let out a shaky breath and looked at what I had written. My last wishes, my last anything. I folded the will, slipped it into my bag, and whispered to myself, 3 days. That's all I have. I hope I don't waste them. And for the first time in months, I cried quietly, letting the sound die inside the dark room. Chapter 2. The will I never planned to write. I didn't sleep at all that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the doctor's face. Those words echoing again and again. 3 days left. By morning, my head felt heavy. My chest hurt. My hands were still shaking from writing the will. I kept touching my bag to make sure the paper was still inside. Mira was sitting at the dining table, scrolling on her phone, not even looking at me. I made myself a cup of tea, and the silence between us felt like a thick wall. She finally spoke. You look awful. Didn't sleep. I said, not my problem. She muttered, eyes locked on her screen. Normally I'd snap back, but now I just let the words pass. She noticed I didn't react and frowned. You're acting strange, she said. Are you hiding something? I'm just tired, Mira. You keep saying that, she said sharply. But tired from what? You don't talk. You don't explain. You just go quiet and expect me to read your mind. I took a deep breath. Mira, can we not fight today? So now I'm the one fighting? She snapped. You never take responsibility for anything. I stared at my untouched tea. I'm eating iron, I said softly. Of course, she scoffed. Run to your brother. Maybe he understands you more than I do, right? I stood up without answering. I'll be back later. She slammed her phone on the table. Whatever. Go. I reached the small cafe where Ian and I always met. He was already waiting. As soon as he saw me, he got up and hugged me tightly. Bye. What's wrong? He whispered. I swallowed hard. Ian, sit. He looked scared. You're shaking. Did something happen at home? Did Mira? It's not about her, I said quickly. Not this time. Then what is it? He asked, voice trembling. Why do you sound like this? I looked down at my hands. Tomorrow, I need to give you something important. Something very serious. What is it? He asked. I hesitated. My will. His entire face froze. You're… what? No, bye. This is not funny. I'm not joking. He grabbed my arm. Bye. Tell me what's going on. You're scaring me. I forced a smile I didn't feel. Let me talk to the doctor again. I'll tell you tomorrow. I promise. He shook his head. Are you dying? The words stabbed me. I didn't answer. I whispered, just be with me these next few days. He nodded slowly. Always. I'm not leaving you. Hearing that almost made me break down right there. After meeting Ian, I went to the nearby park and sat on a cold bench. I took out the will and read it again. I leave everything to my brother. Ian, because he always stood by me. My throat tightened. Everything I owned, everything I worked for, and none of it was going to Mira, the woman I once planned a future with, the woman I cried for, fought for, tried for. But she stopped trying years ago. As I folded the paper again, a voice echoed in my head. Will she find out? Will she be angry? Will she even care? When I reached home, Mira was waiting near the door, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Where were you for so long? She demanded, with Ian talking about me. She snapped, no. She moved closer. Then what were you talking about? Why do you look like you've been crying? I haven't, I said quietly. She stepped closer until her face was inches from mine. You're hiding something from me. I can feel it. I held my breath. It's nothing. I don't believe you, she said coldly. Not for a second. She grabbed my bag. Mira, don't, I said quickly, pulling it away. Her eyes widened. So you are hiding something? It's personal? Personal? She laughed bitterly. In a marriage? Are you serious? I walked past her without speaking. I didn't have the strength for another fight. Behind me, I heard her whisper to herself, "I swear I'll find out what you're keeping from me." That night, when she finally went to sleep, I reopened the will. My tears fell on it again, spreading the ink slightly. "I never planned to write this," I whispered. "Not like this. Not now. But life doesn't wait for the right moment, and I didn't have the luxury of time." With shaking hands, I hid the will deeper this time beneath clothes at the bottom of my bag. I zipped everything, double-checked, then sat on the edge of the bed, watching Mira sleep. She looked peaceful, like she had no idea her whole world was about to change. I whispered into the darkness, "Tomorrow, everything begins." And I felt a cold sadness settle inside me, deeper than anything I had ever felt before. Chapter 3. Her cold eyes followed me the next morning. Mira's gaze felt like ice the moment I walked into the kitchen. She didn't greet me. She didn't even look up from her coffee. Just stared silently, as if measuring me. "You're really quiet today," she said finally. Voice clipped. "I'm tired," I murmured. "Can we just have breakfast?" Her eyes narrowed. "Tired? Always tired. What are you hiding now?" I sighed. I didn't answer. I didn't want another fight. I only wanted peace. But she wouldn't let me have it. "You're acting strange," she continued. "You barely talk, and when you do, it's nothing. Nothing at all." I stared at my plate. I felt trapped. For years, every word I said to her seemed to ignite a spark of anger or disappointment. Now, I just wanted silence, and she hated it. Later, as I stepped out to get some fresh air, I saw Zoe, my neighbor, tending her garden. She smiled faintly. "Morning," I said. "How are you?" "Fine," she replied. Her eyes flicked toward Mira's apartment. "I saw Mira leaving with someone yesterday afternoon. Multiple times, actually." My chest tightened. "Who?" She hesitated. "I don't know his name. He's always in a suit. But, well, you know your wife." "I thought you should know." I swallowed. "Thanks, Zoe." My voice sounded small, fragile. Inside, panic started building. 3 days. 3 days left. And now this. When I returned home, Mira was pacing the living room. Her phone was pressed to her ear. I froze. I hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but she was speaking softly, laughing, her tone intimate. My stomach dropped. "Do you want to grab dinner later?" A man's voice said. "Yes," she replied. "I'll meet you at 8. My hands trembled. I turned away. I didn't want to see her smiling for someone else, someone I didn't know. But the betrayal, even imagine, cut me like a knife. I tried to focus on my own plan, meeting Ian, keeping the will safe, but every corner of the house felt like a trap. Mira's eyes followed me wherever I moved. I could feel her suspicion burning like fire. "What are you thinking about?" she asked suddenly, breaking my thoughts. She stepped closer. Her eyes searched my face, cold, calculating. "Nothing," I muttered. "You're lying," she said. "You always lie. Why can't you just tell me the truth for once?" Her voice shook with anger and something else, fear, maybe. I looked at her. I wanted to explain everything: the doctor, the will, the betrayal I suspected, but the words stuck. I was too weak, too drained. "I can't," I whispered finally. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Then don't bother talking at all," she said, and turned sharply away. I watched her leave the room. A storm in her wake died hours later. I tried to work on my documents. The will stayed tucked in my bag, but my thoughts kept wandering. I imagined Ian opening it, his kind face looking shocked and hurt if Mira ever found out. I couldn't bear the thought. I glanced toward Mira's side of the room. She was sitting silently, pretending to read, but I knew she wasn't. Her fingers drummed on the armrest. I could feel her plotting. My heart raced out at that moment. I realized something terrifying. Mira had always noticed every detail, every slight change in my behavior, every hidden glance. And now, with the will hidden in my bag, every step I took might be watched. I whispered to myself, "I have to be careful." Just 3 days. 3 days, and it's over. or everything collapses. Later, as night fell, I tried to rest. Mira's bedroom door creaked. I froze. She didn't knock. That was unusual. My heart thumped so loudly I thought she could hear it through the walls. I held my breath. She didn't come in, but I felt her presence, watching, waiting. And then she whispered, barely audible, "You think I don't notice anything, do you?" I stayed silent. She left, but her words lingered, twisting inside me. Lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling, thinking about everything. Her cold eyes, her phone calls, Zoya's words. My chest hurt. I had 3 days. Only 3. And now, it seemed like the final battle had already begun. Tomorrow, I promised myself, I would meet Ian again. I would tell him everything, or as much as I could. But tonight, I just lay there, alone with my thoughts, listening to Mira's soft, suspicious breaths on the other side of the room. And I realized I wasn't just counting my last days. I was counting the moments until betrayal finally revealed itself. Chapter 4. The phone call that broke me. I didn't sleep well that night. Every sound in the apartment felt louder than usual. Mira's soft breathing from the bedroom was almost unbearable. I kept thinking about her phone, about the whispers I heard yesterday. My chest ached in a way I couldn't explain. Then, just past midnight, it happened. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I could hear the faint vibration. I wasn't trying to listen, but somehow, I caught a fragment of her conversation. "Yes, I can't wait to see you tomorrow," she whispered. My stomach dropped. I froze. What is this?" I muttered to myself. "Yes, everything's fine at home. He has no idea." A man's voice replied. I recognized the tone. It wasn't professional. It was intimate. It was personal. I gritted my teeth. "No, it can't be." Then she laughed softly. My heart felt like it shattered. The laughter, the warmth in her voice. It was for someone else. I tried to confront her, but the words wouldn't come. My voice was stuck in my throat. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, feeling my life crumble. Finally, I whispered, "Mira, who is he?" She looked up, startled. "What are you talking about?" I wanted to scream, but my voice only shook. "The phone call. Last night." The whispering. "Who is he?" Her face changed instantly. A mask of calm slid over her features, replacing whatever emotion I thought I saw. "You're imagining things," she said smoothly. I shook my head. "No, I heard it. I know I heard it." She raised an eyebrow. "Maybe you need sleep. You've been acting strange. Always tense. Always hiding. Maybe your mind is making stories out of nothing." I felt like I couldn't breathe. I wanted to grab her, shake her, demand the truth, but I didn't. I just nodded, letting her words hit me like blows. The next day, I went to see my mother. She always knew when something was wrong. I didn't even have to explain. She looked at me over her tea, eyebrows furrowed. "You look haunted," she said softly. I think Mira." I paused. I couldn't say it out loud. "She's hiding something." Mother sighed and placed a hand on mine. "Son, sometimes the truth finds its way out. You have to stay strong. Don't let it destroy you before it happens." I nodded, but inside, my heart was screaming. 3 days left, and now I had to face betrayal too. Back home that evening, I kept my distance. Mira was in the living room, pretending to watch TV, but her phone was buzzing constantly. I noticed her glance at it quickly, her lips pressing into a thin line. Something in me told me she was about to do what I feared most. I was right. While I was in the kitchen, Mira came up behind me. "I need the bag," she said quietly. Her voice didn't tremble, it was calm. Too calm. "What bag?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "The one you always carry around," she said, stepping closer. I froze. My hands were shaking. "Mira, don't." But it was too late. She grabbed it and yanked it toward her. I lunged, barely managing to hold onto it. Our hands collided over the zipper. "What is this?" she demanded. "Why are you hiding it from me?" I swallowed hard. "It's nothing. Just my things." "You're lying. she hissed. Her eyes were sharp, cold. I know you're lying. Her presence felt like a storm. I felt small, weak, but underneath, anger simmered a quiet, dangerous flame. I whispered, voice trembling, please, just let it go. I'm tired. I can't fight anymore. She didn't answer. Instead, she studied me, like a predator calculating her next move. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. She would find out. She would find the will. And when she did, nothing would be the same. The night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. I could still hear her earlier laughter echoing in my ears. Cameron's voice, soft and intimate. I felt my chest tighten. 3 days left. And now, betrayal was added to the countdown. I whispered into the dark, tomorrow, I'll face it. I have to, even if it breaks me completely. Chapter 5. The wool in her hands. I woke up that morning with a hollow feeling in my chest. The kind of emptiness that comes when you know the walls around you are about to fall down. I tried to act normal, but my eyes kept flicking toward Mira. She was moving around the bedroom like nothing had changed, but I could feel it, her suspicion, her attention. Her eyes watching my every move. I hadn't even touched the bag where I hid the will, but somehow, I knew she was going to find it. I didn't have to wait long. I was in the kitchen, sipping my tea quietly, when I heard the zipper. My stomach dropped. I knew that sound. Mira, I said slowly, turning around. She was holding the bag, and my blood ran cold. What's this? She said, her voice low, but sharp. Her fingers trembled as she held the bag in front of her. I took a step forward. That's mine. Don't. But she didn't listen. She ripped the zipper open and pulled out the folder. My hands felt suddenly empty, useless. Her eyes widened as she saw the paper inside. And then, she laughed. No, she said, shaking her head. This is, it can't be. I swallowed hard. Mira, please. It's not what you think, not what I think. She shouted, waving the wool in front of me. You're leaving everything. To him, to Ian? My own husband is leaving me out of his life, out of everything. I stepped closer. It's not like that. I wanted to make sure Ian is protected if something happens to me. That's all. Protected. She laughed again, but it wasn't happy. Protected. You're dying and your first thought is to protect your brother over me. Over us. How dare you? Her words hit me harder than I expected. Part of me wanted to yell back, to defend myself, to remind her how distant she's been, how she abandoned me emotionally years ago. But I stayed silent. I was too tired for more fighting. You think this is some game? She spat, her face red with rage. You think I don't notice everything? You hiding your illness, sneaking off, writing secret documents. You think I don't see it all? I took a shaky breath. I didn't want you to worry. I worry. She interrupted, her voice rising. Do you even realize what you've done? You've betrayed me. My own husband betraying me before he even dies. How could you? I looked down at my hands. I wanted to explain, to show her the love I still felt buried under all the pain. But the words refused to come. Instead, I whispered, Mira, I only have 3 days left. Please, don't make this harder than it has to be. Her eyes widened. For the first time in years, I saw fear in her face. Not sadness, not anger, fear. You're dying? She stammered. Yes, I said softly. 3 days, maybe less. I don't know. She laughed again, but it was broken this time. Not happy, not cruel, just terrified. And all this time you've been hiding it from me? You didn't think I deserved to know, to be by your side. I shook my head. I didn't want to fight. I wanted peace. I wanted to spend the time I had left without more pain. And I wanted to protect Ian. That's all. She pressed her hands over her mouth. Her eyes filled with tears. You never trusted me. You never told me anything. And now, this is your last gift. To him, yes, I whispered. I'm sorry. She dropped the folder onto the table and turned away. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. I could hear her breathing, fast and uneven. I could feel her heart beat through the tension in the room. Finally, she muttered, almost to herself, "I can't believe this. I can't believe you do this to me." I didn't argue. I couldn't. I only watched her, feeling a strange mix of relief and sadness. Relief that the secret was out. Sadness that it had come to this. Then, suddenly, she slammed her hand on the table. "You think I'll just let this go? You think I won't fight for what's mine?" I shook my head slowly. "I'm not fighting, Mira. I just want the days I have left to be mine. That's all." Her face twisted with a mix of anger and fear. And in that moment, I knew everything had changed. The countdown had begun. And now, the real battle wasn't with Tom. It was with her. Chapter 6. Her secret life unfolds. The morning after Mira discovered the will. The apartment felt heavier. Every sound, every shadow, every creak in the floorboard felt like a warning. I tried to focus on simple things, coffee, breakfast, but my mind kept replaying the moment she held that folder, her rage, her fear, her betrayal. I didn't expect the next blow to come so quickly. It started with Heina, Mira's sister, calling me on my phone. Her voice was low, trembling. Is this really the right time to talk?" she asked hesitantly. "I don't care about timing," I said, my voice tight. "Just tell me." "I tried to warn you," she whispered. "About Mira. She's involved with someone. Cameron, you need to know." I felt my chest tighten. Cameron, the man I had glimpsed in passing, Mira's coworker. My heart pounded. "She's cheating?" I asked, barely able to form the words. "Yes," Heina admitted. "I didn't want to interfere, but you need to know before it's too late. Please be careful." I thanked her quietly and ended the call. My mind spun. 3 days left, and now this betrayal was laid bare in front of me. My chest felt tight, my head dizzy. How had I been so blind? How could I trust someone so completely and yet be so deceived? Later that day, Zoe knocked on my door. I didn't have to ask why she was here. She stepped inside, her hands clutching her bag tightly. "Listen," she said urgently. "I saw the Mira and Cameron multiple times. They're close. To close." I nodded numbly. "I know," I whispered. "I heard them on the phone last night." Zoe's face softened. "I'm so sorry. I should have said something sooner." "It's not your fault," I said quietly. I just don't know what to do anymore." Her eyes met mine. "Then don't let her ruin you in the time you have left. Focus on yourself, on the people who truly care. Like your brother." I nodded again, a lump forming in my throat. He had been my anchor through everything. I realized I needed him now more than ever. That evening, Mira returned home. I was in the living room, pretending to read, but my mind was elsewhere, thinking, planning, preparing for the confrontation I knew was coming. She didn't acknowledge me, not even a glance. Instead, she went to her room and slammed the door. I could hear the muffled sound of her phone ringing, someone calling. I didn't need to listen to know it was Cameron. Hours later, I overheard her talking to him again. "Yes, everything's fine here," she said. "He has no idea. I need a little more time." I felt a fire ignite in my chest. Rage, hurt, betrayal. But I stayed calm. I had 3 days left. I couldn't waste them screaming. I had to be smarter. I packed a small bag and left the apartment. I needed distance. I went straight to Sammy's place, my oldest friend, the one person who had never let me down. When I told him everything, my diagnosis, the will, Mira's betrayal, he sat quietly for a long time, listening. Then he spoke, firm but gentle. "You can't let this destroy you," he said. "You have 3 days, or however long you really have. Use them wisely. Don't let her take that from you. Don't die broken, not over someone like her." I nodded. His words pierced me with both truth and pain. I realized he was right. Dying alone with betrayal twisting inside me was the last thing I wanted. I had to take control, even if it hurt. That night, I didn't go home. Instead, I walked the empty streets, thinking, planning. 3 days. 3 days to protect what mattered. 3 days to face betrayal without letting it break me completely. I realized something important. Mira's betrayal wasn't the end. It was a test, not of my patience, but of my strength, and I had to pass. When I finally returned home, Mira was asleep. I slipped the will from my bag again, checking it one last time. My hands trembled not from fear this time, but from determination. I whispered to myself, "You have 3 days, not to die, but to take back control, not for her, but for you and for Ian." Tomorrow, I decided, would be the day I begin the counter-strike. The day the power shifted, 3 days left. But maybe, just maybe, I could take them back. Chapter 7. The power shift begins the next morning. I woke with a strange calm. For the first time since the diagnosis, I felt a tiny spark of control. Mira's betrayal didn't have to crush me. Not entirely. I had 3 days to reclaim what little peace I could, and maybe make her realize what she had lost. I waited until Mira left for work. Her routine was predictable. I watched her in the mirror as she walked out the door, unaware I was fully awake and alert. The apartment felt quieter than usual, and I let myself breathe for a moment. Then I called Ian. "Bye," he said as soon as he picked up, his voice sharp with concern. "You okay? You sound different." "I'm okay," I said, forcing a steady tone. "Meet me at the cafe in 1 hour. We have work to do." Ian didn't ask questions. He just said, "Okay, I'll be there." And I knew he understood. He had always understood. At the cafe, I laid out the plan. "I need you to help me," I said, sliding the folded will across the table. "If Mira finds this, everything could collapse." Ian frowned. "Are you sure you want to involve me? This is messy." "I don't have a choice," I said firmly. "I have 3 days. 3 days to protect what matters. And I need you." He nodded, understanding. "Okay, we'll do this." We went over every detail. Where the will was hidden, what Mira knew, what she didn't. By the time we finished, I felt lighter. For the first time in days, I felt like I had a plan. Like I wasn't just a man counting down the hours. Back at the apartment, Mira returned. I was waiting in the living room, calm, collected. "Where have you been all day?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "Out," I said, simple. My tone held no fear, no hesitation. She studied me carefully. Her eyes narrowed. "You've been acting different." "I don't like it." I smiled faintly. "Maybe I've finally decided to stop hiding." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Hiding what?" "Everything," I said softly, "including the fact that I know about your little side adventures." Her face paled slightly, and her composure faltered. I didn't shout, didn't accuse. I just let the words hang in the air. "You, what?" she whispered, stepping back. "I know about Cameron," I said. "I know the calls, the messages. I know you've been pretending everything is fine while lying to me." Her hands trembled. You can't prove anything," she hissed. "I don't need to," I said calmly. "I have 3 days left, and in these 3 days, I can control what happens. I can protect what matters, and I can let karma take care of the rest." Her eyes darted around the apartment as if she was suddenly seeing it for the first time. Fear flashed across her face. You're threatening me?" she asked. "No," I said, standing taller. "I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you the truth. For the first time, I am not afraid. You can panic, lie, or manipulate. I don't care. The power has shifted." She froze, words failing her. Her hand switched, her mouth open, then closed. I continued. "I have nothing to lose. You do. And soon, everyone will know everything." The color drained from her face. She turned away, pacing nervously. I could see the panic building in her eyes. The woman who had once held power over me was now exposed, vulnerable, and terrified. That night, I sat by the window, the will safely in my bag. Mira hadn't touched it, but I could feel her searching, questioning, planning, and I let her. I whispered into the darkness, 3 days left. 3 days to take back control, and I will. Somewhere deep inside, I realized it wasn't just about protecting Ian anymore. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my peace, and the last moments of my life on my terms. Tomorrow, the next step would come, and I knew, without a doubt, that Mira would never see it coming. The power had shifted, and I was ready. Asterisk Chapter 8, Her Panic and My Silence. The next morning, I woke to an eerie silence. Mira wasn't moving around like she usually did. The apartment felt like it was holding its breath. I knew she was watching me, waiting, planning, panicking. I poured a cup of tea and sat at the table, pretending to read. My hands were steady. My heart was steady. But inside, every nerve was alert. I could sense her plotting, calculating. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was low, almost venomous. You think I don't know what you're doing? I didn't look up. I kept my eyes on the paper in front of me. I'm not doing anything. She stepped closer. Don't lie to me. Don't even try. I saw the way you were with Ian yesterday, and I know about the will. You think you can hide things from me? From me? I'm not hiding anything from you, I said calmly, though my chest tightened. Her eyes flared. You think you can control everything in this house? That you can manipulate everyone and still walk out clean? You're dying, and you think that gives you the right to judge me, to decide what's fair? I took a slow breath. I'm not judging you. I'm surviving, and I'm trying to protect what matters. She laughed, but it was sharp and broken. Protect your brother while leaving me in the dark. That's your idea of protection? How dare you? I didn't want you to fight with me over it, I said softly. I wanted to spend my last days without more pain. She slammed her hand on the table, making the cups rattle. Pain? You think you're the only one in pain? I trusted you. I gave you everything. And this betrayal is how you repay me? I didn't move. I didn't argue. I only let her words crash over me. I realized she had no idea what I had endured silently all these years. The sickness, the fear, the knowledge that time was running out. You always think you're the victim, don't you? She spat. Even now, even with your little secret will, you make yourself the hero. You make yourself God. I finally looked up. My eyes locked onto hers. I'm not the hero. I'm just a man who has 3 days left. 3 days to live. And in these 3 days, I want control over my own life. Not over you. Not over anyone. Just control. Her face twisted. Confusion, rage, panic, everything mixed together. And the will? She hissed. Do you think I won't fight you for it? That I'll just let you give everything to Ian? I don't care if you fight me, I said firmly. It doesn't matter anymore. The will is safe. You can scream, cry, or threaten. It won't change a thing. For a long moment, she stared at me. Then she sank into a chair, breathing hard, her hands pressed to her face. The panic was visible. Her empire of control, her manipulation. Her games was crumbling, and she couldn't stop it. Finally, she whispered, almost to herself, I can't believe this. I can't believe you do this. I didn't want to hurt you, I said softly. But the truth doesn't care about feelings. It's just the truth. Tears ran down her cheeks, silent and angry. For the first time, I saw the full weight of betrayal reflected in her eyes, not just mine, but her own guilt and fear. She realized the power had shifted, and she was vulnerable. I leaned back in my chair, letting her panic unfold in silence. There was no need to argue, no need to explain further. 3 days left, and finally, for the first time, I felt like I had reclaimed my life. She sniffled, wiped her eyes, and whispered, You've changed everything. Yes, I said simply. I have. And now, you see what it's like when the tables turn. She didn't respond. I could hear her shallow breathing. I could see her trembling hands. I knew she was replaying every moment in her head, the phone calls, the secrets, the hidden will. She had lost control, and she hated it. I looked at the clock. Time was slipping. Every minute counted, and I realized that in the silence of her panic, I had found my peace. The power had shifted completely, and the countdown continued. Chapter 9. Her regret and my resolve. Asterisk. The next morning, Mira didn't speak. She moved around the apartment like a shadow, avoiding my eyes, biting her lip, her hands trembling slightly when she reached for something. I watched her quietly, taking in every movement. The woman who once held power over me was now silent, vulnerable, afraid. I poured my tea and sat by the window, letting her anxiety fill the room. I could feel the shift slow, deliberate, like a tide turning. She was beginning to understand the consequences of her choices. Finally, she spoke, voice low and uneven. I didn't realize. I didn't look up. I wanted her to feel the weight of her regret before I spoke. You didn't realize what? I asked softly. What I've done, she whispered. I never thought it would go this far. I never thought. Her voice faltered. I waited. Let her struggle with her guilt. Let her confront the betrayal she had hidden. I should have been honest, she said finally. I should have told you about Cameron. I should have been here. I didn't respond immediately. I wanted her to feel the emptiness her secrets had caused, to understand how it felt to have trust broken when time was running out. I'm sorry, she said, voice shaking now. I was selfish. I didn't think about you, about us. I finally looked at her. Her eyes were wet, filled with fear and regret, but also something else, vulnerability, the acknowledgement of what she had done. I know, I said quietly, but words aren't enough. Not anymore. 3 days. That's all I have left. And in these 3 days, I need peace. Not guilt, not arguments. Peace. She nodded slowly, swallowing hard. I understand. I'll do whatever you need. I shook my head. It's not about doing things for me. It's about understanding the consequences of your actions. You can't undo what's been done, but you can still choose to be honest. Her lips trembled. I will. I sighed, feeling a small weight lift from my chest. For the first time in days, there was a calmness, not the absence of fear, but the clarity of truth. Later, I called Ian. He arrived quickly, and I could see his concern, but I also saw relief in his eyes. He had sensed the shift in the household. He said quietly, how are you holding up? And managing, I said. Mira knows. She's regretful, but it's too late for apologies to change anything. He nodded. I understand. Do you want me to stay? Yes, I said. For the last days, I want you here. Just be with me. He placed a hand on my shoulder. Always. You don't have to face this alone. I nodded, feeling grateful. I realized that in this betrayal, in this final countdown, I still had people who truly cared. And that mattered more than any argument, any deception, any lost trust. That night, Mira came to my side. She didn't touch me, didn't speak much, but her presence was silent acknowledgement, a penance, a quiet sorrow. I'll leave it to you, she said softly. Whatever you decide with a will, I won't interfere. I looked at her, studying the lines of her face. The anger had faded, replaced by fear and regret. Thank you, I whispered. She nodded, tears welling up again. I'd never wanted this to happen. I thought I was protecting myself, but I hurt you instead. I know, I said. We all make choices. Some have consequences we can't avoid. But now, it's time to focus on what matters. She didn't argue. She didn't protest. She just watched, quietly, as I allowed myself a small sigh of relief. For the first time, I felt some control return. Not as I lay in bed that night. I reflected on the past few days, the betrayal, the secrets, the panic, and now the regret. I realized that life wasn't about avoiding pain. It was about navigating it, about standing firm when the world seemed to collapse around you. I whispered to myself, 3 days, and I've taken back control. Not for revenge, not for anger, but for peace. And that is enough. The countdown continued, but for the first time, I wasn't afraid. Chapter 10. The final day. The sun rose slowly, as if hesitant to witness what the day would bring. I felt every minute pressing against me, heavier than ever. 3 days had passed, or maybe 2. Time had become fluid, stretched by betrayal, panic, and regret. I knew today would be different. Today, the final act would unfold. Mira was unusually quiet in the morning. She moved about the apartment like a ghost, avoiding my gaze. I didn't speak. I let her wallow in the silence of her choices. Finally, she sat across from me at the kitchen table. Her hands were clasped tightly, knuckles white. I can't fix what I've done, she said softly, almost a whisper. But I want to try. Please tell me what you need. I studied her. For years, she had controlled every conversation, every argument, every plan. But now, she had no power. Just words that could no longer harm me, and remorse that I couldn't ignore. I don't need anything from you, Mira, I said gently. I need honesty. I need peace in my last days. And I need people who care to be near me. That's all. Her lips trembled. I'll do that. I promise. I nodded. A weight lifted from my chest. It wasn't the end of everything, but it was the beginning of some closure. Later, Ian arrived. I could see the worry in his eyes, but also the relief. He had heard about Mira's change in demeanor, and he knew I was regaining some control over my final days. Bye, he said, sitting down beside me. You look calmer today. I am, I admitted, because for the first time, I'm not hiding. I faced betrayal, secrets, lies, and I've survived them. Now, I can focus on what matters. He nodded. Good. You deserve that. By noon, Mira approached me again. She held out a small notebook, her hands shaking. I wrote this, she said. Thoughts, memories, everything I didn't say before. I wanted you to know. I never meant to hurt you. I was afraid. I took it from her. My fingers brushed hers, and I felt the tremor of remorse she couldn't hide. I opened the notebook and skimmed through the pages. Words of love, apologies, regrets, memories of small moments we had shared, all written with raw honesty. I closed it slowly. Thank you, I whispered. This means more than you know. Tears welled in her eyes. I hope you can forgive me. I shook my head gently. It's not about forgiveness anymore. It's about understanding. Understanding that we all make mistakes, and that sometimes life doesn't give us a second chance. She nodded, silence stretching between us. But it wasn't the silence of tension or fear. It was the quiet of acknowledgement. By late afternoon, the will had been safely placed with Ian. Mira had stayed in another room, giving space but not leaving entirely. I could hear her pacing quietly, occasionally glancing toward the bag she had once tried to take. I lay on the couch, feeling the rhythm of my heart, the weight of my lungs, the awareness of each breath. I realized that in these final hours, nothing mattered more than the people who truly cared and the truths we had finally faced. Mira came back, kneeling beside me. She took my hand in hers, tentative but real. I'm sorry for everything, she said. I was selfish, afraid, but I see now. It's not about control. It's about love. And I should have trusted you. I looked at her, studying her tear-streaked face. For the first time, I didn't feel anger, not even sadness, just peace. It's okay, I said softly. You're human, and humans make mistakes. But you've chosen honesty in the end. That matters more than anything else. She nodded, her tears falling freely now. I'll stay with you until the end. I promise. I squeezed her hand. Then let's make these moments count. The evening settled in. The light through the windows was soft, golden, almost dreamlike. I felt the fragility of life pressing in, but also the strength of understanding, reconciliation, and acceptance. We spoke quietly about memories, regrets, love, and forgiveness. Mira listened. Ian stayed nearby, a silent guardian of the last days. And as night fell, I realized that the betrayal, the secrets, the lies, all of it had led to this moment. The confrontation had stripped away pretenses, leaving only truth, love, and honesty. I whispered into the quiet room. 3 days left, but I have found peace. Not in revenge, not in anger, but in the clarity of truth and the people I love. Mira rested her head gently on my shoulder, and I sat close, watching silently. I closed my eyes, letting the warmth of their presence fill the emptiness that once consumed me. For the first time in years, I felt whole. And in that quiet, final night, I understood something simple but profound. Life is not about the betrayals we endure. It's about how we face them and what we choose to hold on to when the clock is running out. 3 days, and I had reclaimed them. The countdown had ended not with despair, but with understanding, forgiveness, and love.